Hello, you beautiful, magical soul. Today we are talking about resistance and how we can really tune into resistance and where it's showing up so that we can propel ourselves forward into making a greater impact in our business and in our personal lives, and how to really surrender to that so we can create the success and the life that we want.
Resistance is futile.
My name is Sarah Chapman. This is the Soul Abundance IQ channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So, what is resistance? Resistance is where we are going against the current. We're swimming upstream. We're really like holding something at arm's length because we just don't want to do it. Even if spirit is calling us forward, even if our soul desires to move us into that thing that can grow us tremendously. Our resistance is that primal piece of our brain that is trying to keep us safe. This is the terror barrier that we're fighting against because it's scary. It could be, trying to take us into something that's going to change everything we know in our life or make us do something very uncomfortable that we don't really want to do. And so it's that place where we're just really not comfortable with moving forward. Now, even though it's scary, whatever we're resisting, there should also still be that piece of excitement or thrill or something to show us that we know it must be something for us to look at and move towards. I just had a friend of mine give me an idea about something that I need to be speaking on, and I got sick to my stomach and I was like, all right, it also made me a little bit excited, so I really need to look at it. When it's something that we are just not excited about and having a lot of resistance towards, that can be that area that's completely different of just something that's not aligned to us. So there can be kind of a subtle difference sometimes, and that's why we really need to tune in to, is it resistance because it's going to grow us and move us forward because that's where spirit wants to guide us into a greater flow of life? Or is it something that's just feedback to tell us that's not in alignment, don't go towards that? And if it's also something that we are ignoring and we know it's our spirit desire, we know it's something calling us forward, but we're very resistant because of so many reasons, right? It's going to change the way we do things. It's going to change a lot of things and make us uncomfortable. We're growing through so many old programs. And so we may just want to ignore it or just keep doing what we're doing and not really look at it. A lot of times, that's when the universe is going to hit us upside the head. Okay, that was a little intense to get things started off, but it's a great illustration of how when we are in the frequency of resistance, we are a vibrational match to things that we do not want happening. And we're not in the flow. We're holding ourselves apart. And so that can culminate into something blowing up in our lives, or things slowing down, business tapering off in a way that we don't want things to slow down. It can also even be very subtle, and things just not quite going the way we want in our daily life and not having the experience that we want to live because we're ignoring what we don't want to look at, and holding ourselves apart from that. So staying stuck in resistance is never going to bring us what we want. I personally have been moving through a lot of resistance lately to having a stronger web presence and creating an online course that I have known for over a year that I am meant to work on. And every time I try to sidestep it, the universe keeps bringing it back to my attention. And while it goes really deep into programming and resistance to outgrowing ancestral patterns and the deep programs I've been living my entire life around self-worth and lack and what life could be like on the other side. So what does that look like? I've never known. It's really a lot easier for us to tell ourselves stories that are way more surface than looking at those deep programs. So I've been telling myself a story that I love connecting with people, especially in person. And so, just technology just really isn't my thing.
Everything's computerized now.
People have a deep mistrust of machines. Have you seen Terminator?
Yep.
Or 2? Or 3? Or 4?
So this very surface story that I've been telling myself has allowed me to stay in my comfort zone, even though it's not serving. And it's really turned the way that I've always done things and connected with people into something that's stale and stagnant and not working for me anymore. It's now resonating more to a low vibe situation of hiding or distraction instead of being something that used to serve me. So once again, it's always really good to go into looking at the energy behind our actions so that we can see how we're really resonating and what the vibrational frequency we're in our day-to-day lives. Because even though we're doing the same actions, it can start to show up very differently depending on where we need to make shifts in order to get into alignment. We oftentimes get lots of clues as to where the resistance is. Often this is a small, still voice within us, or a knowingness, or a feeling that our intuition is bringing us. We may very synchronistically get the same messages over and over and over again. And so even if it's subtle, the clues are all around us as to how to best move forward and get in alignment for our greatest success. But also we're in resistance. And so we don't want to slow down. We're too scared to just stop and be still and be quiet and to fully recognize and integrate what we need to see. There are also times when we maybe do slow down and get still and listen, but then we let distraction completely take over instead of actually making the changes and moving forward. I cannot tell you how many times in the last week that I have recognized and spirit has gotten my attention and I've felt the urgency and I've been ready to take action and move forward. And then I distract myself and I slip back into letting those old programs take over and I go down a rabbit hole instead of actually making the changes that are necessary for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
So we know that facing resistance and tuning into where spirit is leading us, even if it's uncomfortable and scary, can create the biggest success and payoff in our life. So what do we do when we finally recognize the resistance? We move into surrender. Now, surrender does not mean that everything is going to be easy and that we're not going to have to face uncomfortableness. But when we can really set the intention, declare to the universe, just to make that shift instead of fighting and having a war within ourselves into actually moving into surrender, that's when we can finally get into the flow of going where we need to go.
But surrender is, it's like a fish finding the current and going with it.
Yeah.
That's surrender.
Oh my God, I love that so much. You know what? Because I believe that everybody in life has their own current and their own flow. Your job in life is to figure out what that is, what lane that is, and how you line up with the center and the universe and everything around you and follow that flow. Your job in life is to try to not be the salmon swimming upstream all the time, but to find your flow.
So when we get into this state, there's absolutely a balance. We don't want to be poking our pain with a stick and, just like, why am I doing this? Why is this happening in a way that kind of bogs us down, takes us into a downward spiral, isn't serving us? And we also don't want to try to shift out of the uncomfortable feelings too quickly. We don't want to create any sort of magical thinking or like trying to create a spiritual bypass to move forward too quickly. So it's a really delicate balance of really slowing down, being where we are, being okay with the humanness, embracing ourselves in all our glory, all our bullshit, all of our mess, and really getting clear on the programs and patterns that are taking place, the vibrations, the things that are operating in our energy field that are keeping us in this place, so that we can actually work on transcending that and rewriting the program to create something truly new and different. And I wholeheartedly believe one of the best ways to do this is to journal and write things down. I totally understand if you're not a journaler. I hated journaling, but scientific studies have proven that by writing things down, writing about how you feel, what's going on, you're going to process things much quicker and actually have more lasting effects. So you may also need to journal around what happened in childhood that resonates with what's going on now and maybe a root of this pattern. What other belief patterns have you taken on? What societal impacts have created this? If you have past life information about yourself, what past life beliefs have you brought forward that are still operating in your energy field that are keeping you stuck in this place, so that you can actually look at it and transform it once and for all to create something completely new. Now, a lot of times it's really difficult to see that for ourselves. So if you have a friend you trust that you can talk through this with, if you have a professional that you trust that can help you see all of this with clear eyes, we can definitely do a lot of this work for ourselves, but also it's great to have one degree of separation to see ourselves a little bit more clearly. I personally love adding, yoga, mantra, writing statements, that can be pattern interrupts, using essential oils. There's all sorts of great supportive therapies that we can use as well. I would love to hear what yours are in the comments below. Just as long as we're not using that as escapism and really using that as support. So again, what is the energy behind what are you doing so that you can truly make an impact to move forward? I wholeheartedly believe that when we do this work, we start to shift into true balance and harmony in our lives. This is where we have truly self-directed time and true freedom and expansion and abundance and prosperity. We're not spending emotional energy, mental energy, physical energy on ignoring what we're being called to or working on the wrong things. We actually have that expansive energy and creative freedom so that we can truly enjoy our downtime, truly have some self-care, create the biggest, impact through what we are here to bring, so that everything can be harmonized. And when it's time to relax, we relax. And when it's time to get going, we get going in the most aligned way.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
So seriously, slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's get going, because we're burning daylight. And we want to get the resistance out of the way so we can surrender and have true freedom and expansion and alignment in our lives. Thank you so much for being here with me. I truly appreciate you. Please share with me anything in the comments that you are working towards. If you're feeling resistance, if you're working on surrender, if you're finding ways to support yourself as you move into a greater alignment and connection with yourself. All the best. Thank you again.